which abetted suicide, but it is actually part of a criminal conspiracy. And therefore, I would say Rohit was murdered. He did not commit suicide. And this is the most unfortunate part. From what we have heard of all the developments since August last year, what was a normal thing that happens in a university, and I'm speaking as a student activist, having been in JNU, as the president of its students' union. I'm not here as what may be termed as a politician, but as a student. Why did we take to politics? We came to the universities in pursuance of a career, but when we saw everything in our life is determined by political decisions, when politics chooses my career, when politics chooses my existence, then I choose my politics, and therefore, that is my politics. That is exactly what these students were doing. It's an ordinary scuffle. The proctorial inquiry has cleared it. They had settled that issue. In spite of that, it was reopened, and all of us know here the pressure that has been put by the Union Minister for Labour, the Union HRD Minister, and what they have done in pressurizing the university and the newly appointed Vice Chancellor, whose appointment itself is suspect, politically suspect. That Vice Chancellor had taken this action. This is completely unacceptable. So we think that this is a part of this conspiracy. Last year, I felt proud because I grew up in the city of Hyderabad, studied here. When the Hyderabad Central University was declared by the President of India as the best university in our country. But when we pointed out to the Honorable President that during the last few years, 12 students have committed suicide in this university. 12. Why are they being pushed to this level of taking such a dastardly action? Something is wrong with the university. And only last week of the last session of the parliament, despite all the disruption, there was one new law that we legislated, and that was the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act. According to that act, all those who abet such a situation, perpetuate the social oppression against the Dalits, are to be treated as committing a criminal offense, and that criminal offense has to be punished according to the criminal law. Today, the Union Minister for Labour, Union Minister for Human Resource Development, and the Vice Chancellor of your university, at least these three should be punished as criminals in this country, according to this new law, and that criminal action should follow. So what we are asking the government to do is that remove these ministers, remove the Vice Chancellor, constitute a high-level independent inquiry, and all those who are involved in this criminal conspiracy must be brought to book, and must be brought to book according to the new law that the country has adopted in the Constitution. But I want you to even consider a larger point. What is happening with our universities today is exactly the antithesis of what our Constitution and our Republic of India proclaims. When universities like yours, the Hyderabad Central University, were established by an act of the Parliament, we were guided by the direction set by our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. And what did he say about the universities in independent India? A university, I quote, a university stands for tolerance. It stands for humanism. It stands for the adventure of ideas. He goes on, it's along the statement that he made. For an adventure of ideas, yes, there will be differences of opinion. Yes, there are people, and including my political party, who say that capital punishment should be abolished in our country, like more than 100 countries have abolished in the world. The Indian Law Commission has made recommendations to this effect. The government needs to consider. We raise it in the parliament. While this is an issue of debate, won't students naturally debate this point? Of course they will. Can that be seen construed as being anti-national? Of course not. But then the construction of construing to see it as anti-national in itself is a part of this criminal conspiracy. And that is why we think this is a much larger issue. Instead of tolerance, instead of humanism, instead of adventure of ideas, we have the entire higher education of India being manipulated and doctored today to suit an ideological point of view of the RSS and the BJP, and the effort, the larger effort, is to convert the secular democratic Republic of India, as our constitution proclaims us, into a rabidly intolerant, a fascistic Hindu Rashtra of the RSS variety. That is the big battle that is taking place in the country. What is happening in your university is part of that battle. Every institute of higher education is being interfered with. Indian history is being replaced by Hindu mythology. The syncretic Indian philosophy is being replaced by Hindu theology. Naturally, the students will, and you must respond to these things. We have done in our generation. We have responded. We have sought to change our society into a better society, and that urge is a welcome development, and I'm glad that the students of Hyderabad Central University are actually involved in these debates. And this is something, a tradition you must continue. Because what has happened in this university is also the reassertion of a system of social oppression that is based on caste prejudices. If people commit suicide and all 12 of them belong to the Dalits, they belong to the scheduled caste, then obviously what is happening in this university is taking India back into medieval times, and where that equality that we promised in our constitution, all citizens of India are equal, quote, irrespective of caste, creed or sex, unquote. That is what we gave ourselves, we the people. That is being violated today. So it's a much larger battle. Therefore, we have all come here to demand from the Modi government, of course, if he has time from his foreign visits to listen. He was very upset when I said in the parliament, because when he came back from one of his many foreign visits, 38 of them, foreign, not even minister, he's a foreign tourist. Anyway, it's not a minute. When he came back to the parliament from a foreign visit, the parliament session had just begun. The rumor in the parliament central hall, that is like our canteen, all the MPs meet there. The rumor in the central hall was, as soon as he was sitting down on his chair, as soon as he sat down, he was looking for something. And what was that something? He was looking for his seat belt. He thought he was on a flight, not in the Indian parliament. If he has any time for the affairs of the country, we are asking him immediately to dismiss both the Minister for Labour and the Minister for Human Resource Development from the cabinet, remove this Vice Chancellor from the university, conduct an inquiry into the whole affair, and all those involved in this criminal conspiracy should be booked under the new Act of the Parliament as criminals, and criminal proceedings must proceed against them. And to this effect, with these demands, one of my colleagues in Parliament, Seema from Kerala, she was also with me in the students' movement in my generation. She has been nominated to the University Court of your university by the Vice President. She has written a letter today to the President of India as the visitor of university, and the Vice President who sent her to the University Court as a member, that it is morally untenable for her to continue in office in the University Court until an emergency meeting of the court is called, and in that emergency meeting of the court, we dismiss the Vice Chancellor, the University Court dismisses the Vice Chancellor, and action should follow by the government against the ministers and against all the other officials. So that is why when I said I'm not here as a politician, I'm here because We were all born as part of the student movement. And I somehow continue to maintain, I still continue to be a student. And in the university that I used to do my research in, there used to be students of my age also, then of my age, who would pursue something or the other. They would say, why are you pursuing this? He is doing research in Bhasha, Indonesia. So they said, what is the use of this for the country? But the use of this country cannot be determined now. What you all discover, what you all do your research on, is something that lays the foundations for the future of our country. So it is not to be valued in terms of what is its use today. And today, what is the use is only this Hindutva ideology. Anything that is against it is useless. That is what is the current thinking of the government of our country today. That has to be resisted. That has to be changed. I only have come here to express my solidarity. Yes, we will change it. We will change it. We will fight for you. I'm not only expressing solidarity with you all in the university or with your generation. I fight for a better India. Unless all of you are in a position to contribute to that better India, no better India can be formed. So I fight for the future of India. I fight for the future of India that must give you the liberty to, in accordance with the constitutional principles, to actually conduct and proceed with your activity without any hindrance or